أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما ثم السلام على آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم الأجمعين إلى يوم الدين صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم صدق الله العظيم صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So our topic has been the spiritual bank. We've kind of opened the account and we've talked about the owner, who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the CEO, which is the Prophet, the most awesome man who walked the earth, and the COO, whom we talked about as Imam Ali alayhi salam, and we looked at Ali and Waliullah. Yesterday we started what were the deposits that we need to make on a daily basis to ensure that this bank operates. And I used the hadith of Imam Hussain alayhi salam when he asked for the last night of respite as such. When he said, أَنَا أُحِبُّ الصَّلَاةِ وَتِلَاوَةِ كِتَابِهِ وَكَثْرَةُ الدُّعَاءِ وَالْإِسْتِغْفَارِ. I love salah and the recitation of Qur'an and lots of dua and istighfar. So the deposits that we're going to make in our spiritual bank are these four. Yesterday we talked about salah. Today we talk about Qur'an. And I really didn't know. I got a bit stuck because it's like this star-filled sky saying, talk about me, talk about me, talk about me. And I thought, I don't know. So I'm going to just pick bits and pieces and hopefully you'll be able to put them all together in some place. So the first thing when you pick up the Qur'an is you know that is the word of Allah. You also know that He is your and my creator. And to be able to reach our full potential, we need that book. The sad thing is that all too often, the moment you say the word Qur'an, we think of it as a book that is wrapped up on a shelf, that we pick up when somebody dies or somebody's getting married or maybe in the month of Ramadan. Yet this book says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى what? Muttaqeen. It is a book, no doubt in it, which is a guidance for those who are God conscious to be able to become their personal best. If you go to your kitchen, I don't know about you, but my kitchen, on the window shelf, I have a whole bunch of cookery books. Every time my children like a particular cuisine, they will bring me a book. They don't want to cook it, but they'll bring me the book. But my book, if you go through the books, you will find the one that is most used is the one that has flour on it, that has oil on it, that is thumbed through, right? And that's basically my mama's book. Okay. Now, for you and me, a Qur'an that is not well used, that is not journaled, that is not marked, is not a Qur'an. It's just something I read. And as a Khoji, we pare and pare and pare. I'm not sure what Pakistanis do, but we just read. And that's not what we're supposed to do. So the first thing before you open the book is use the dua of the Prophet. وَالْزَمْ قَلْبِي حِفْظَ كِتَابِكَ كَمَا علمتني. Now it's on the website. We've done little heart stickers and little heart badges and name it, and we've done them. Basically, when you open the book, you say, I want to fall in love with the Rabb of Hussein through this book. That's what you say when you open this book. Don't open it without it. Now I'm going to go through some basic facts, and then we'll go into a little bit more about it. So, first of all, let me go to the hadith of the Prophet. He says, and remember this is his hadith. He says, one who recites the Qur'an without understanding it and without reflecting on it, woe be to on them. I won't even use the word la'na. Withdraw your mercy, ya Allah, from them. So it's a book to be able to be understood. Okay, it's the most reproduced and printed book in the world, most used book in the world. The first printed copy was done in, if you're saying something that was done mechanically, it was in Venice, and it was in 1537. When I went to Venice last year, I actually went to the place where these Qur'ans were printed. Most of us who go to Venice, we think of cornettos and gondolas, right? Well, it's the place where the Qur'an was printed. I mean, go and have a look. Only 10% of the Qur'an has laws. Only 10%. Do this, do that. 90% is how to be a good human being. But we focus only on the 10%. And we say it's a book of laws. Yes, it's a book of laws. Just like you're told, don't go over 30 or don't go over 40. It's a book of laws to keep us safe, but that's only 10%. 90% is completely different. I'm just taking bits and pieces so you know, okay? Now, how do I get a Quranic heart? Because the Prophet said, if you internalize the Qur'an into your heart, Allah will not punish you. I repeat again. Allah will not punish the heart that internalizes the Qur'an. So how do I get this heart? Surah Al-Anfal, Surah number 8, Ayah 2. I'm just going to go quickly over the English. So who are these people? Number one, when Allah is mentioned, they are in awe of Him. They go, oh my goodness, like that. When they read the Qur'an, it increases their iman. Number three, they establish salah. And a consequence of establishing salah is they serve humanity. 4 tick boxes. Got to look at ourselves, not at anybody else, just at ourselves. Does the recitation of the Qur'an make me increase into my iman? If it doesn't, then I've got to start thinking about it, right? I'm going to, like I said, take bits and pieces because I just wanted to say everything to you. If you look at the Qur'an, it tells you, if your heart is broken, if you feel you are lost, if you feel you've lost, you're completely hopeless and people say, oh, no way back, the Qur'an says something else. He says, refuge is only with me and only to the Qur'an. Surah number 3, ayah 160. Yansarkumullahu fala ghaliba lakum. If Allah helps you, nobody can overcome you. Then he says, وَإِن يَخْذُلْكُمْ فَمَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَنْصُرْكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ. And if He abandons you, who is there for you? Nobody, okay? And he says, فَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Trust in Him. Don't worry about people. Have you met people? Oh, you haven't met them. Okay, all right. Luqman takes his son. You all know this story. I'm just going to repeat it so you understand. So Luqman and his son are both walking and they have a horse in front of them. And people tell them, because Luqman wanted to show his son this ayah. So he says, they were walking and in front of him, the horse, and they said, what stupid people. They've got a horse and they're not sitting on it. So the son says to the father, you sit on the horse. In the next village, the people say that, oh my goodness, what a selfish dad, making the son walk. So they swap places. What a selfish son, that they make the father walk. So they both got onto the horse. How cruel can you be to an animal? So they lifted the animal up and they said, how stupid are they? You will never please people. Never, ever. The only one you got to think about is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. So if He supports me, none can overcome me. Now, the Qur'an tells you, and in fact we're told, that everything you do, you say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. He is unconditionally merciful. Unconditionally merciful. Why are you and I told, repeat this again and again and again? Same salah, same Qur'an, again and again and again. It's not because the Qur'an changes. It's not because Salah changes, it's because you and I change. And the Qur'an interacts with us with our change. That's what it does. It doesn't change at all. And the Qur'an is just amazing. Now, where do you start? It's quite hard. Because you think, I haven't done anything. Where do I start? So we developed some modules as part of Q Fatima or Q Read as we call it, or Quran City, whatever you want to do it. And we started some modules. The first thing is to be able to recite it. You must be able to recite it correctly. Now we've produced modules, but I'm sure if you go onto the internet, you'll find lots of different bases to learn. So we have Q Read and Q Read 2. Q Read 1 and Q Read 2. And we make sure that the children are able to understand and recite it. So first recite it. The second thing is to learn the names of the surah. Surah is plural of surah, chapters. Learn their names. I mean, when you ask most people, and I'm talking about myself first, we know Mulk, we know Yasin, we know Fatiha, we know the 4 Quls, maybe Qadr, maybe Asr, and if you're really lucky, maybe Jumu'ah. And even if I asked, what surah is Suratul Jumu'ah, what number it is, we say, don't know, 62. See, oh my goodness, okay. So, what is surah number 50? You have to learn the names. Now we devised some mnemonics to make it easy for you. But I'm sure you will find other methodology. I'll give you an example. So surah number 31 is Luqman. Okay? So the way we looked through some bits. So we said 3 Koji women. Oh no, sorry. 3 African women looking at 1 Koji man. And he said, look, Aman. So you know Luqman, yes? You're not making fun of anyone. Everybody has their own ways of saying things. However, you will never forget that 31 is, will you forget it? No. Just like that, 50. How much is 50%? Half. It rhymes with Qaf. So surah number 50 is Suratul Qaf. And just like that, we devised different methodologies of learning them and then learning a mnemonic to put them together. So learn the names. I have a 6-year-old grandson, and when I ask him by the names of football players, he can reel them off. This one plays for this, and this particular team is in this place, and I'm going, if you can reel all those names, how about 114 surah? How about knowing their names in chronological order or in the order 1 to 114? It can't be that difficult. Come on. We're not that bad. Okay. The third thing is looking at the Qur'an as a whole. Now, you all know the story of the elephant, yes? I'll repeat it. So there's these 5 blindfolded men, and they're told, what is this? One holds the tail and says, it's a rope. One holds the trunk and says, that is a snake, and so on and so forth. One holds a skin and says, that's a wall. But when they open their eyes, they see an elephant. So to be able to understand the Qur'an, you need to see it as a whole. What is it? What does it talk about? So we devised a city. You don't have to look at it as a city. You can look at it yourself. Well, we devised a city called Quran City. We also did an exhibition in Toronto where the city is sort of put into shape so you can actually see it. But Quran City tells you the city as a whole. I'll give you an example. On top of the city, we put a moon. You know which surah number Suratul Qamar is, the moon? Surah number? Thanks. 54. 4 times in that surah, Allah says, وَلَكَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. 4 times. We have made the Qur'an so easy for the one who just takes one tiny step, who puts the slightest bit of effort. It's not me talking, it's the Qur'an talking. So we put it as a moon on top of the city. We divided the city into about 20 different suburbs as such. And each suburb is connected to the other with a road system called M14, which represents the Masumin. Now, you could look at it in your own way. You don't have to go to Quran City. But at least know an overview of the book that will take you and me to my personal best or to our personal best. It's an amazing book, absolutely amazing. If you don't read a few ayat after every salah, then there's an issue. There really is an issue. You got a problem, pick up your Qur'an. It has some beautiful things in it. That it's amazing, absolutely amazing. Can we have a salawat, please? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraj. Now, the Qur'an was not revealed to people of this century. We're intelligent. We know how to use a phone. We've got all different things. We can connect with people on the other side of the world in a matter of moments. The Qur'an was revealed to a people who didn't know much, who's only, they were different sort of people. To them, success was poetry. To them, success was that they lived in a community where they wouldn't want to see outside. So, for example, if you didn't match the community, you were chucked out of the town. So if there was no way they would embrace people who are different than them. Very, very racist, very, very chauvinistic. When daughters were born, they would bury them alive, not because they hated them, but because they saw the way they treated women, and the father did not want his daughter to be used and abused the way he treated other women. So this was a different society, and in that society came one word, Iqra. Read, internalize, understand, apply and teach. Nowhere, and if you can find me a hadith, please, I stand corrected. Nowhere does it say, pare, read and read and read without understanding. In fact, the Prophet said, if you read and your mouth did not move, then it was like a perfume bottle with a stopper on and you couldn't smell anything. And I sit here, and probably we all do the same thing, especially when somebody dies. We get this Qur'an, and there is not even the slightest movement of the lips. What is it? What are we reading? We don't even understand it. Even if you read one ayah and pondered over it, it would make a difference. So I'm going to look at the first 5 ayat that were revealed, and we'll go over them, and then we'll look at what we can deposit in our spiritual bank. So the first word was Iqra. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of your Rabb, the one who takes you to your full potential, step by step, and the one who created you. So he is encouraging me and you to read, internalize, understand, apply, and teach. Okay, these are the 5 things you've got to remember. Khalaqal insana min alaq. He created the human being from something that latches on. Now, in the first instant, it's the human embryo which latches onto the uterus. But in our case, once we are born, we latch on to divinity to get spiritual sustenance. The embryo latches onto the uterus to get sustenance from its mama, right? To live, to survive. Because the moment that embryo loses the umbilical cord, that embryo cannot survive. In the same way, you and I cannot spiritually survive if we don't latch on to divinity. And the only way to latch on to someone is to know them. And the only way to know them is their words. We talked about Salah, and we're talking about Qur'an now. Right, the third one. Iqra wa rabbukal akram. It's so beautiful. Again, I go again. Read, come on, internalize, understand, apply, and teach. I want it to come out of your ears, okay? So he said, Iqra wa rabbukal akram. And your Rabb is Kareem. Do you know what Kareem means? Kareem means somebody who is so generous that you think that you did it all when actually he gave it to you. He is so honorable that you think you got your status, but it is he who gave you that status. You know, there's a Asma al-Husna, Ism of Allah, called Ya Dhal Jalali wal Ikram. You all know it, don't you? Yeah. Well, there was this man. He was pleading near the Kaaba, sitting there saying, Ya Allah, Ya Dhal Jalali wal Ikram. This is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. And he wanted his hajat. The Prophet went up to him and said, it's okay. The moment you say Ya Dhal Jalali wal Ikram, there is nothing that he will not respond to. Quran says, Ad'uni astajib lakum. Call me, I will respond to you. But there are certain Asma al-Husna, walillahi al-Asma al-Husna, fad'uhu biha. For him are the most beautiful names, call him by them. This is one ismi a'zam, ya dhul jalali wal ikram. So this says, ikra wa rabbukal akram. Alladhi allama bil qalam. He taught with the pen. That's what we normally translate it as. Qalama means to cut. Qalam actually means to cut. When a pen is made, the first pen was made by reeds, so you had to cut it off from its source. In the same way, qalama here means A, that it leaves a mark that will always be recorded, and B, only when you cut yourself off from the world and attach yourself to Allah will you be able to get anywhere in life. Okay? And finally, allama al-insana ma lam ta'lam. He taught the human being what he didn't know. What didn't the human being know? The human being does not know how awesome he or she is. The human being does not know that he or she can become absolutely anything they wanted. The moment we hit a certain age in this country, when you're about 66 now, or 67, I don't know, they tell you have to retire. And they put it in your head that that's it, it's over. That's not what Qur'an says. Quran tells you you have a potential within you that is way beyond the potential that you even know. Allama al-insana ma lam ta'lam. I spoke about this many years ago, but I have a friend who's 90. Yeah, she's lovely. She's actually started mountain climbing 5 years ago. She got to the top of Kilimanjaro, which is the highest mountain in Africa. And her children, who were in their 30s and 40s, couldn't make it. Okay? So don't think that you're not capable of doing anything, right? Doesn't mean if I'm suddenly, it doesn't work like that. Okay, now we're going to look at some key ayat to be able to deposit in our spiritual bank. Now, I've just picked bits and pieces, and I hope you have them. Inshallah, when the YouTube video goes up, we will have a sheet with them. The first one is quite easy. And I said spiritual bank was there when you couldn't refer to a book in times of emergencies. When you're going to sleep, you're not going to pick up a book. In the dark, when you wake up, you'll be able to refer to it. When you're ill, when you're distressed, even in your kunut. So the first one is Surah number 1, Ayah 6. You all know it. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Guide me to my full potential. I'll just take bits and pieces. The other one is 833. By the way, when I write an Ariza, I write all these in there. 833, I love. Do you want to remember it? 0833. Make it your phone passcode. Yeah, but use it safely because all these people know now, okay? So 0833 says, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ مُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَهُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. That's two parts of the ayah. One says, we will not punish you if the Prophet is within you. But the other says, if you do istighfar, Allah will never punish you. Can you imagine going into that grave and they say, you were a bit naughty. We need to, you need to go through the process. And you say, haven't you read 833? I do istighfar every single day. And that's what you and I should do. Got time? Sit down, get bored with me. Istighfar, astaghfirullah, Rabbi. Even astaghfirullah. That's it. The Quran says it, not me. Okay, so look at it. Okay, 2156, you all know this. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. Have you lost something? You can't find parking? Read it. You're in traffic? Ya wasiu. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. It's not only for somebody dies, okay? It's when you want something to come back. You find somebody, your husband, your child, your mom, your mother-in-law especially if she's like me, right? Bit grumpy. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. She'll come back. Okay. 2216. You can't forget this one. Okay, it's beautiful. It says, I'll try to just translate the English. There may be something that you don't like, but it's good for you. And there may be something that you love intensely, but it's not good for you. It's a beautiful ayah, 2216. I love 3953, which I read in the beginning of this majlis. La taqnatu min rahmatillah. Do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Inna Allah yaghfiru dhunuba jamia. He can forgive all sins. Innahu wal ghafurur rahim. Don't let anybody ever kid you that you're hopeless. Don't even go there. And then I love 1188. Wa tawfiqi illa billah. Success only comes from Allah. I love 28:10. It talks about Yukabid, the mother of Prophet Musa, when she's told to throw the baby into the river. Can you imagine? Allah says, we held on to her heart. In Dua Mashlul, he says, Ya man rabata ala qalbi Musa. Oh, you who held on to the heart of Musa. You need somebody to hold on to you. And then my favorite, 66:11. Come on, you know it. I draw a house near it. Rabbi ibni li indaka baytan fil Jannah. Rabb, build for me a house with you in Jannah. And the word here is indaka, with you in Jannah. Design your house from now, no? What do you want? Put everything in it. More important, who do you want in that house? Okay, I'll leave that up to you. Okay. Then there is 64:11. Have a look at this ayah. It's absolutely beautiful. He says, وَمَنْ يَهْدِ قَلْبَهُ وَمَنْ يَهْدِ قَلْبَهُ. The one who loves Allah, Allah will guide his heart. So I call it guidance to the heart. You all know 3:173 because you recite it all the time. Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal. Okay, yeah, you go, you know it. You know 21:87? If I told you the belly of the fish? La ilaha illa ant subhanaka. See? You are amazing. Okay, what about 40:44? You're handing over everything to Allah. وَأُفَوِّضُ أَمْرِي إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَصِيرٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. Okay, so you know them. What about 2:2:2:2? All 4 twos. Surah number 2, ayah 2:2:2. I tell the children, when they're doing ghusl of Jumu'ah, or you're doing whatever ghusl you're doing, I tell them, you don't know the ayah? You know the shower screen gets a bit misty. Right? 2:2:2:2. Inna Allaha yuhibbut tawabin wa yuhibbul mutatahhirin. Come on, you can write that too, and you can remember that too, all right? 2:2:1. There's no one who hasn't learned, my age especially, in Qunut, what do you recite? Rabbana atina fid dunya wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban. You're getting late? This is mustahab, no? Go 2:2:1. He knows it. Talk in numbers. So when I tell my child that she or he, or the grandchild now, children I don't, but if you tell the grandchild he or she is a star, you say you're a 53, because surah number 53 is a star. When I say I love you, I say I 36 you, because surah Yasin is qalbi Qur'an. Use the Qur'anic numbers and the Qur'an to make it so familiar that children will know it so well. And you all know 33:56, because I hear you all the time. What is 33:56? Salawat. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala. And I'll end with 2 more. One is 33:33. Absolutely love it. All 3s. You know the all 2s. You know the all 3s. 33:33. Innama yuridu Allahu liyudhiba ankum rijsa ahlal bayt wa yutahhirakum tathira. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Wow. So in your mind, when you think of 33:33, think of a blanket with 5 stars underneath. The next one is 5:55. All 5s. 5:55. Imagine a ring. And imagine somebody doing ruku. A ruby ring with somebody doing ruku. It's about Imam Ali giving his ring in ruku. It's the ayah of wilayah, 5:55. Now I could go through a lot of these ayat, but we don't have time. But it's really important to use the Qur'an in everyday life. Use the numbers, read about it, talk about it, think about it. But today we go to Karbala, to the moms of Karbala, who, my goodness me, their Qur'an was impeccable. If you looked at the way they used Qur'an and followed the Qur'an, or something else. I'd like to talk about Rabab today. So Rabab was a daughter of Imra al-Qais. Right? He was of Arab nobility, but he was a Christian. And he converted to Islam. Now when he converted to Islam, Imam Ali al-Islam went to his house to welcome him to the community and to be able to talk to him. He had 3 daughters. He had Malia, he had Salma, and Rabab. Rabab was a very intellectual poet. She was somebody unbelievable. And this was their time, the way they worked. And he said, Ali, I give you my Maliha. He said, Hassan, I give you Salma. And Hussein, I give you Rabab. So she was a Christian to start with. She becomes a Shia, she becomes a Muslim. Okay. And this is the words of Imam Hussein. He said, I swear I love the house in which Rabab and Sakina live. I would sacrifice everything that's above the earth to them, and there will be no one who will disapprove of my admiration towards them. So she must have been an absolutely awesome personality for an Imam to say something like this. There's a lot about her in history, but at least that should start you off into be able to look into about her. So this is the day of Ashura. Now imagine a woman who is besotted with Imam Hussein, and he's besotted with her. There is a baby in a cradle. When he stands on the day of Ashura and he says, Hal min nasirin yansurna, hal min mughithin yughithuna, is there anyone to help us? Is there anyone who will come to our aid? He hears crying from the tents. She is sobbing. And he goes in and he says, Rabab, I am still here. I haven't gone. And she says, look, the baby who had no strength has fallen from the cradle. He's responded to your calling out. This is the mom who watched her baby thinking my baby doesn't have life in him. But she would raise her hands and say, Ya Allah, let this child live forever. The only way you live forever is if you serve Allah. Imam takes the child, covers him with his abba, and he says, maybe there are hearts. Maybe there are fathers who have hearts who will give this child some water. Mama said goodbye to the child. He takes the child to the army and he says, my child has done no wrong. Please give my child some water. There's no movement. He puts the child on the hot sand of Karbala, and there is movement in that army. There are fathers there who are going towards the Furat to get some water in their water bottles. At that time, Ibn Ziyad tells Hurmala, Iqtal kalam al-Hussein, kill the words of Hussein. He picks up an arrow, which is used to kill camels. And the arrow drops, and Ibn Ziyad says, you scared of a baby? He says, no. He says, from the tents I can see the door opening and Mama watching. I could not do this. When the tent door closes, he picks up his second arrow. Imam picks up his child, and the child is pinned to Imam's arms. فَتَقَبَّلْ minna, he says, but how am I going to take this child to its mama? He walks 7 times like we do in Awali Ashura. Ridam biqadahi wa tasliman li amri. I am at peace with what you have ordained. But how am I going to take this child to his mama? 7th time he takes the child to mama. Rabab, I have brought your son back. When she sees her baby, she said, do they kill children like you? If I had known, I'd have dressed you as a soldier. Baba digs a little grave behind the tents. Mama puts the child in the grave, closes the grave, and she says, I don't have any water, my child. I only have tears for you. On Shami Ghariba, when Sayyidah Zainab tells Rabab, she says, put your head down. You're not putting your head down. You need a little bit of rest. Tomorrow will be a tough day. She says, I can't. When I put my head down, I hear my child crying. How do I put my head down? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Saya'lamuna alladhina dhalamu ayyamun kalibin yankalibun. Let us pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Give the wasila of Ali al-Askar. He was known as Abdullah as well. Ya Allah, there are so many children in the world who are suffering. Ya Allah, bihaqi Hussein, wa awlad al-Hussein, wa Ali ibn al-Hussein. Please give them the comfort and the solace that they need. Ya Allah, there are people here, sitting here, who have hajat. With the wasila of Ali al-Askar, please fulfill their hajat. وتقبل منا إنك أنت السميع